How y'all doing? So I think y'all figured it out, but we're gonna do an episode of Coffee Time. And it's gonna be a little different, but I'm gonna use my Keurig. So we're gonna drink this Vietnamese coffee. When Sous Chef went over to Asia, she went to Japan, and then she went to Vietnam, and she came back with some great coffee. So you got two different types of coffee, Arabica and Robusta, and this is a Robusta bean. The region is Krong Nang, Dak Lak, and it's in the country of Vietnam. So the notes are orange peel, hazelnut, barley, wine, dry fruit. So I've had this coffee quite a few times, and I really enjoy it. And every time I drink it, I get different notes. Man, I'm picking that bean up. You can't buy these at Wally World, you know? So, all right, so a little cheat sheet. You put your beans in whatever device that you're going to use for the grinding process. And that should give you the right measurement of bean. And that way you don't over or under. So we got our old trusty grinder manual. We need to name it. Put all our beans in there. And the amazing thing about coffee beans, they come in different sizes. So some beans are big, some beans are pea size, they're small, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, just to show you how you like that, I'm glad I did that. But I had a little grind left from our last episode of Coffee Time. And we had those beans from Hanaka from Japan. But we're out of that coffee. So now we're primarily working on our Vietnamese coffee. So I'm just getting a little parchment paper, unbleached, set up so that the beans will rain down. I'll put that down. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I should have opened this up for you. Sorry about it. Let me close it because I have a few beans jumping out. Now you see how loose it is? That's a good indication that you've ground everything. Now, I have to do two things. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of paper. And I don't really like using paper because I don't want to lose any of the coffee oil that's in the actual grind to the piece of paper. And look, the nose of this coffee, the aroma, the bouquet, it is divine. It is so nice. Get at a smack. All right, now we'll pour it in. Now, for some of you, this may be too much work, and that's okay. But Coffee Time isn't about convenience. It's not about being the most efficient from the standpoint of production. It's about enjoying the moment that we have. All right. Now, as you can see, tell you what, this might be espresso roast. I'm gonna just smooth that over. So all that stuff I said in the beginning. All right, so we had to shuffle things around a little bit because we're going to use the Keurig. And my friend Stacy, she has a Keurig, and I love hers. Not really crazy about mine. It does shoot out double, but you know, that's the breaks. But today is just one stream, but very often it's more than one stream. Look at it. But anyway, you know, it's still a good moment for coffee time. I have my trusty, I got 4 streams coming out. It's like a leaky roof, huh? And now you know why I do it the old-fashioned manual way, primarily. It's a perfect cup. Good boy. Stay. All right. Really good cup. All righty. So we have our cup made, and we're drinking it in our fancy psychopath. You know, today was day 139. We have over 6,000 miles rode on our 43-year-old road bike, and it's good, you know. So on this episode of Coffee Time, I was trying to think of a good theme, you know, a good talking point for Coffee Time, and some people like that kind of stuff, so we'll try to make everybody happy. We'll try to make everybody happy. And with that being said, it's time for us to talk. So, tell you a little bit. Maybe some of you have heard already, but we started doing YouTube videos September 8th of 2024. So October, November, December, January, almost 5 months. October, November, December, January, February. Oh, it is. It has been 5 months. Drink to that, huh? And I have a wife of almost 24 years. And I have a daughter. We have a daughter that's 20 years old. And so some of you may understand where we're at in life. And I used to be a firefighter. And so I was a public servant for 13 years. And I was injured a few years ago. And I decided, because of my injury, that it would no longer be safe for me to be a firefighter. And so I accepted a medical retirement. And sometimes I regret it. I regret it a lot. A big part of me now wishes I would have just went back hurt. And so every day I struggle with that. You know, when you have a job and it's a job where you can retire from it, I used to always tell some of the older guys, you go when you're ready. Because the way the fire service works, a guy gets hired, and if you're fully staffed, there's no movement until someone quits, gets fired, retires, gets hurt and retires, or dies. So you basically landlocked. And so when you're an older guy in the fire service, some of the younger guys want you to go because you're stopping them from making money. You're stopping them from getting a boat. You're stopping them from getting the RV. You're stopping them from getting the hair care products for their kids, you know? So it's a very competitive world, you know? And also, come on, babe. Sushi, ever come and check on me. Don't go against me on camera. So when you're in the fire service, it's a limited time only type of job. And so when I got hurt, I decided it was in the best interest of everybody for me to medically retire. And I regret it a lot. I do. I really do. Because mentally, I was not ready to go. Physically, I wasn't ready to go. But if you get the right call, I could have put somebody in a bind. And so I'm just thankful that today I could walk, can't run, but I could walk and I could, you know, I can be active. So life is going to hand you situations that you may not like. It's going to hand you situations that are challenging, but you can overcome those challenges by not panicking, by making good decisions, and also by not being selfish in the decisions that you make, you know. But I often think out of all of the emergencies I went on to help other people, who's going to help me? And the answer I came up with is nobody could help me with this emergency. It's something that I have to go through alone because it's my life. It's my situation. It's my new normal. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow. Just to be frank, it's a hard pill to swallow. I swallow a little coffee for that. But I will say this. I met a soldier about 5 years ago. And I forget how we met. I just know I was at work. And it was something, fire alarm, car accident. And we started to talk. And he was telling me a little bit about him. You know, he's seen active combat in Afghanistan. And I asked him how is he coping being back in the civilian world. And he told me it was hard, you know. He told me it was really hard. And he said that he has a good support system. And so I think about him often to know how he's doing, you know, because a lot of guys struggle with the new normal and they crave something that they can't have because of some of the stuff they've seen and done. And I remember one of the guys I worked with, JP, you know, we was born on the same day, you know. So we had this special bond, you know. And he was a big brother. He really was. And I respected him. He was really a great guy. Excuse me, he is a great guy. And one day we were talking, you know, and he was like, he said something how soldiers, they know going into the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Air Force, you know, military personnel, they know going into the military that they're going to see things or do things that they have to live with, you know. I saw a video yesterday of this guy riding his motorcycle, and he survived the accident. He did. He survived. Punctured spleen, punctured lung, broken ribs, broken legs, but he survived. So he posted the video just to let some of these reckless guys know, please, man, you might not survive. So don't drive like that. Don't ride like that. Think of the other person. And I always, working on a job in the fire service, I always saw things that seemed like a good idea. For example, someone getting on a ladder to hang some lights on the house. They're getting on a ladder to get on the roof, and they fall to the earth and, split their head wide open. They thought that was a good idea. But then we're standing there and we see their good idea. Or somebody, one night we had a call, these guys, the girlfriend left, or the girlfriend was cheating. I said girlfriend. The girlfriend was cheating. Now, he don't want to marry her, but their girlfriend. So the girlfriend is cheating or don't want him no more. So he get his boy, and they chase him, shooting at him all around town. High-speed chase. They wipe out. And almost tear a building in half. The car is shredded, twisted metal. We extricate him. And they thought that was a good idea, to race around town shooting at somebody. And we got to see their good idea, We got to see it, Or crab balls on at work one night, and somebody decides that they're gonna smoke a little marijuana, and they throw the roach in the trash can, and they leave the house. So the girlfriend leaves the house too, to go watch the boyfriend, and the house catches fire. And I think 3 kids were in the house. And Crabball pulls up on scene, pumping the truck, and it's a fireball, the whole house. And people in the community are hollering, there's kids inside, save them. And I'm gonna say this one more time, the house is a fireball. And Crabball saw, somebody's good idea to throw a roach in a garbage can and leave the house. And somebody who thought it was a good idea to go follow him. And you got to live with that stuff. You got to live with seeing people's good idea. One night we got called out, and one of the firefighters, CL, he, we go to a call, attempted suicide, and the guy tried with a so it never penetrated all the way through, but he's in the bed, agonal breathing. Agonal breathing is like when your body's trying to jumpstart itself, but it's not. So it looks like you're a fish out of water trying to gasp for air. That's what it looks like, So we knew he was, so we started doing CPR. But the delicate thing is, it's a crime scene. So PD is there, and we're there to do life support, but we can't do life support because it's a crime scene until it's ruled not a crime scene. So it's a fine line between PD letting us do our job, us doing our job, and us realizing that it doesn't matter what we do. He did the job. He was successful, you know? And it's like blood is everywhere. And I don't know if you watch like Anthony Bourdain or George Zimmerman or some of these food shows, but they go and they'll try like blood pudding, you know? And I mean, it looked just like blood pudding. And so his dog is like licking, like as we're wheeling him out the house, his dog is like licking up all of the drops of blood as he's being wheeled out the house on the gurney. And we get back to the station, you know, I make some coffee and I'm talking to CL, like trying to see where his head is, you know. And he's like, man, he's like shocked by it, you know. But he's cool. He's got a good head on his shoulders. And he's like, man, I just feel sorry for the dog, you know, because the dog was like, you know, that was his master, you know. And so the dog is licking up. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's a sick world, you know. Another time me and CL was together, I was driving a truck on the east side of town. CL was the firefighter, you know. And Captain AS was the captain, you know. I love working with AS. Swap meet. We'll just call him swap meet. So I was with Captain Swap meet and CL, and we get a call for a victim with gunshot wound, you know, multiple gunshot wounds. So we get that. A guy was shot probably 7, 8, 9 times. I don't know. They had about 400 people outside, everybody looking. Nobody saw nothing, of course. Everybody looking. And there's always a potential for you to become a victim in a situation like that. But we did our job. We were professional. And I remember every time we did CPR and we compressed the heart, you saw blood, you know. And I was like just thinking, man, are we helping this dude die fast by doing CPR, you know? But regardless of the call, you know, the guy died over $20. And I remember distinctly crying about that call. I had $60. I had $60 in my pocket. I could have bought that guy's life 3 times. And if he would have told me I owe somebody $20, they're trying to kill me, I would have gave the guy all 60. You know, so you see people's good idea. You see their good idea. This fool thinks it's a good idea to kill this guy over $20. You know? And you see that. You know, you see that. And you learn how to deal with it if you ever really can. You know, funny story. Well, some of it is funny. The rest of it is a tragedy. But the first time I ever did CPR on the east side of town, I'm with Big Hands and my jazz brother and my computer brother, you know. Everybody has nicknames. So I'm with the boys and we get called out to an area that we know really well. We get there. I jump off the truck with all of the gear. I'm maybe number 3 in a line of 4. We get all the way in. And it always seems like when people need cardio, pulmonary resuscitation, they're always in the furthest spot away from the front door. They'll be in the backyard all the way in the corner, you know, upper right-hand corner of the backyard. But anyway, we go through the house. It's super dark. It's super quiet. We're hollering for, you know, hey, fire department, fire department. And the only light on is in this room. So like a fool, we go to the room. And there's this lady laying on the floor. She's not moving. She's not breathing. And her grandson, her grandson is trying his best. And I'll just tell you this. If you ever did CPR, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life, no matter how good at it you are. But when you do CPR on somebody you know, somebody you love, it's even harder to do because of the emotions, the feelings, and the energy and all of that stuff that's going on, My grandmother, my mama, my auntie, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my neighbor, And so my captain, big hand, he telling me, say, hey son, he said, let us take over, okay, so we could try to help grandma out. And so we get her out of this little nook so that we could do our job and try to give her the best chance she had at living. And, I don't know, 2 or 3 rounds of CPR later, like I'm looking up for Big Hands, and Big Hands is looking at the ceiling, He looking at the ceiling. And Big Hands, he's fighting back tears. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, Big Hands don't even know this lady, but he fighting back tears. We human. We all feel that. We all feel that. We all understand, no matter where we live at in the world, we all understand what loss does, what loss feels like. We didn't get a pulse back in the lady. And we tried. We really did. We tried. And I remember feeling defeated and walking back to the truck with the oxygen bottle, the AED, and the medical bag. And I remember crying like a newborn baby. And my jazz brother looked back at me and he said, it's going to be all right, Moni. And Cap, Big Hand, he looked at me. He said, it's going to be all right, son. And when I got back to the station, some calls you just got to take a shower after, I think I cried more than the shower head put out water, And that was the moment I knew that I was always going to make sure I gave it my best when I did CPR. Because that was my first time doing it. But after how I felt, I knew I would never not give it my all, no matter what, And I think the last thing I'm going to tell you in this video about it, but anyway, so, like when you work at the firehouse and you experience somebody's good idea, when you get back to the station, you think about it, you replay it over and over again. What could I have done better? Did I do my best? Did we do our best? Did we get that fast enough to the call? Like, you process everything. And when you go and take your shower, for the evening because I was there for 24 hours. So we slept there at night. So when you would go take your shower in the evening and you put your head under that water faucet, the water spigot, the shower head, you know what you think about? You think about them compressions. You think about that guy that was shot all up. You think about those kids who won't make another birthday. You think about the fools who thought it was a good idea, to ride around town at a high rate of speed, shooting at somebody. You think about all that stuff. You think about all those good ideas, We had one call, and the most amazing thing, I'll tell you two more stories. So we had one call. I was with Malcolm and Ram, and so we get to this house, and this guy is not responding. The family's in the house. They're all crying. And he just got home from maybe open heart surgery because he had staples from his clavicle, wishbone, collarbone, all the way down to his groin. And I just remember seeing all them big silver staples dang, if these staples rip, man, we're going to have a major problem. But he came home from surgery. He ate. I know it was Campbell's vegetable soup because he was a big man. And in his nostrils, he had that red Campbell's soup color coming down his nostrils, down his face, in his neck, in the fat of his neck. He had the alphabets, a carrot, green bean, corn. And I was like, man, I ain't never ate that soup since then, But what was noteworthy about that call was the family kept running in the house. The family kept running in. And they were screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, oh, Daddy." And if they would have been millionaires, they would have gave us all the money they had in the bank to save their daddy. "Daddy, Daddy, oh, Daddy. Hey, save my daddy. Oh, my daddy. Come on, Daddy. Wake up, Daddy." And when I first started, that would destroy me. That would destroy me. That would really mess me up. But after you do it enough, and after you understand what you're doing, and after you do it so many times, you don't even hear that. Because now it's you and your compressions. Now it's you and what you need to do. I hated doing CPR because the first time you start pushing down, you feel that person's sternum breaking. And I hated that feeling. Man, I hated that feeling. But I knew if they had any chance, I had to do my job. I had to give them the best possible chance by compressing their heart to the right depth, the right thickness, all of that, the right cadence. But that used to mess me up so much when people would run in the house because I felt it. But you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. That made me want to do the best job I could do. Because none of those folks was ready to say bye. And I felt like if I could just do the best job I could do, that person had the best chance of hugging their daddy again, of getting more time. But I'll tell you what really messed you up, because you go through this phase where you're super sensitive to everything, every noise, every person, all of the room. But then when you get proficient and you understand it more and you have experience, you don't get rattled from that. You don't get rattled from people screaming. It's just like in basketball when you see the person at the free throw line. You see everybody in his face with the big old finger waving their hand trying to distract him. But when he's proficient with shooting, he's locked in. Those distractions aren't distractions because he can't even see them. And it was the same way with CPR. Those distractions didn't bother me no more. I got used to it. I got desensitized to the distraction. I got hardened to the trauma. But I'll tell you the one thing that kept me up many a nights. When you would be doing CPR and that person looked like your mama, or it looked like your brother, or it looked like your daughter, your cousin, your auntie, your neighbor, your friend, your grandmother, your papa. Those were always the hardest ones. Because it wasn't just a blank canvas, but now there's an emotional connection. Because this looks like somebody you know. But like any medical professional, you do your job. Because you doing your job is the only chance that person has. That's it. It's not up to you, but it's the only chance that person has. I remember going to this one house, and this guy looks just like my brother right under me. And I'm like, I had to look at him like, man, is that my brother? I'm talking about exactly alike. And I told Malcolm, I said, bro, man, this dude looks like my brother, Now, I know my brother lived in New Orleans. He didn't live out there in the country, so I knew it wasn't my brother. But I tell you what, boy, So I didn't know this was what we was going to talk about for coffee time. But I said all that to say, I pulled myself off the job because I was hurt. And I could not get somebody else hurt by me not being 100% or fit for duty. And I regret it. But I know I did the right thing, even though the repercussions I have to deal with every day, But every day not a bad day. But every day is a constant reminder that I wasn't ready to go. Wasn't ready to go. And that nobody can help me with this emergency that I gotta live going forward. So if you know somebody who has dealt with a major change, just be patient with them. Just know somewhere in them, they're the same person. They've just been changed because of what they went through. Be patient with them. If you know somebody with PTSD, be patient with them. Be somebody they can rely on, but in their time. If you know somebody with depression, be patient with them. Be somebody that they can rely on in their time. If you know somebody dealing with other issues because of trauma, be patient with them. Be somebody that they can rely on in their time. And don't take for granted the good decisions that you make. Because that good decision could be the reason somebody get divorced. That good decision could be the reason that nurse or that doctor or that firefighter or that cop starts drinking and abusing alcohol or drugs. That good decision affects more than just you and your family. It affects people that don't even know you. Don't even know you. So just think about everybody before you make that good decision, so that you will make a good decision, you know. So thanks for this session of coffee time. I didn't mean for it to be so deep, but we live in a real world, you know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for what you do. We make a strong team. I think we hit 509 of you that really enjoy the content, you know, and we're so thankful for that. And we look forward to making more content. And, you know, we look forward to the future. You know, better times are ahead. But don't lose your sense of humanity. Don't lose your sense of humanity. We all in this together. It don't matter where you live at and what you drive. It don't matter what you eat and what you wear. We all in this together. I'll see y'all at the next one. Thanks again.